Today on the Topping Show, Ben Shapiro YouTube channel appears to be hurting as I do a statistical breakdown. USA Hockey to allow boys to compete with girls. Hakeem Jeffries calls a SAFE Act voter suppression because it requires IDs to vote. Tesla has their largest sales drop ever, and Crate and Barrell has to recall some of their candles. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. He's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still giving away a free Flamethrower with every IT purchase with a fun Picatinny rail adapter so you can mount it to any standard AR-15 like all awesome accessories can be. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the Flamethrower button to learn more and see me shoot a flamethrower. Lastly, trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Tesla having their largest sales drop ever. It is not looking good over there. Now again, I should have a little caveat, not financial advice. Hindsight is always 20/20 when it comes to investing, and I thought it'd be interesting to look at their stock, which actually has gone up past couple of days, but year to date is quite rough and worse than the industry S&P 500, which also has been dropping precipitously past couple of months. Now, just looking at them, looks like year to date they're down at 29.98%, currently trading for $280.76 per share, and even more disappointing, 0% dividend yield because they don't pay dividends like most tech companies, which is a little disappointment. But yeah, when it comes to most auto sales, theirs are down, but their stock is doing worse than the competition. And yeah, there's a lot of heat on the Teslas because people have the Elon derangement syndrome and are defacing vehicles left and right. Well, by leftist. Now, the article actually comes to us thanks to CNN Business, which somehow, statistically speaking, is still in business. I'm quite shocked, actually. They probably have about 15 employees left, about 3 competent ones. Now, this specifically is credited to Chris, who's a writer there. Chris specifically, Sealador from Lord of the Rings. He's been busy. Talk about diversifying your skill set. Not only can you fight dragons, wizards, and dwarves, with, I know they're on the same team, but you also write at CNN. Now, that is a pretty unique resume. I'll give him that much. Now, he says, quote, Tesla sales plunge, biggest decline in history. And here you can see what I think looks cool, the Tesla Cybertruck, though. You know me, if I were to buy that, I would have to do a whole powertrain swap to give it a good third pedal, also known as a manual transmission. So basically, if I won the lottery and I wanted to do something hilariously stupid, but I would love to take a Tesla Cybertruck, take that body and put it on a Toyota Tacoma so you get the reliability of the Toyota, a third pedal, and you get the cool styling of the Cybertruck, and upside that's also bullet resistant, so I guess you drive to places like Chicago and San Francisco and Detroit. Not that you would want to. Now, you also have all the other vehicles pictured in there as well. And he says, quote, Tesla sales, oh, geez Louise. One of the few times in my life where I actually say I'm glad I did not buy Tesla stock. Tesla sales has plunged 13% in the first 3 months of this year, the largest drop in deliveries in its history. As backlash against Elon Musk, their current CEO, and growing competition took a large bite out of the demand for their EVs. Tesla reported that it delivered 336,681 cars this quarter, 50,000 fewer vehicles compared to the first 3 months of last year. The results were the company's worst sales day in nearly 3 years. Also know that Tesla faced protests by radical leftists. Well, I added that last part. Outside of showrooms for those opposed to the actions of Elon Musk in one of his other roles as the head of Department of Government Efficiency, which also shows how radical and stupid people are. You're angry that Elon Musk is showing how woefully inept and bad at spending the U.S. government is and corrupt. Why? One would think it would unite all Americans. Say, hey, let's make sure our government's using our money wisely. And yet, it's become a political thing, very polarizing, and people on the left are radically upset. So much so that they're using incendiary devices. And thankfully, this time justice is actually existing, unlike during the BLM riots, where they can face up to 20 years in prison for terrorism activities because, again, you're using terror to get your message across, and quite literally explosives, Molotov cocktails, and other implements. Now, They also note that there have been some instances of vandalism against Tesla facilities, including charging stations and cars. All these incidents may have encouraged potential buyers from pulling the trigger on their Tesla purchase. They say that Tesla did not mention the protests against the company in its sales statement. It did, however, point to the update of the Model Y during the quarter that temporarily halted production at 4 of its factories for several weeks. The company said, quote, "Thank you to all of our customers, employees, suppliers, shareholders, and supporters who helped us achieve these results," unquote. They say the decline is stunning for a company that until recently was reporting year-over-year sales growth between 20 and 100%, geez Louise, virtually every quarter, a rate greatly responsible for its lofty stock price. Tesla's first modest drop in quarterly sales only occurred in 2020 during the pandemic when shutdowns hit production and deliveries. Last year, Tesla reported its first annual decline in sales, which accelerated in the first quarter. The plunge was worse than expected by Tesla analysts who had forecasted quarterly sales as low as 350,000 then. Which, yeah, not great news. They're also noting that sales in Europe dropped 49% for Tesla in the first 2 months of the quarter, which not great. They also note that EV sales in Europe across the board are down 28%. Now, the adoption rate for EVs in the US is also declining. Again, people are buying more, but the rate is declining. One of the biggest areas of the automobile industry that you're seeing growth in adoption rate is hybrids, which again are not good. And if you have a modicum of intelligence, you do math, you realize, wait a minute, the battery's going to die in about 8 to 10 years and be worth what, 10, 20, 30, $40,000? Probably not smart to buy, but people are still buying them nevertheless because, ooh, a couple more fuel economy per gallon. Again, if you do the math, it's still not a good investment. Can't beat a Japanese car with a gas engine that lasts, what, a quarter century longer? But that's just me. So Tesla, things are not looking good. You also have interest rates of 7+% when it comes to automobile purchases, well, and housing. That is turning off a lot of people who would normally buy their cars or rather buy new cars. So there are a couple of variables. I do believe part of it is political animosity by leftists trying to vandalize the company and terrorize it. So we'll see if now that the courts are actually starting to bring justice to the equation, if that lets up Q2 or what looks like in that regard. But yeah, one of the first big declines. Now, granted, there's also the issue of the tariffs. A lot of people are speculating. It seems to change on a daily basis when it comes to the status of the tariffs. But Tesla's made in America is, statistically speaking, the most American vehicle by percentage of parts, which is quite admirable. The tariffs would actually help Tesla out because a lot of the competitors are importing their cars and subcomponents across the globe. So maybe it helps them. Granted, that also being said, Trump has said maybe he'll get rid of the $7,500 tax, not write off, but the tax break you get for buying an EV. So there's so many variables in the automotive community. That's why I'm so skeptical about putting any money and investing in there. Again, not financial advice, but there's so many rules, so many regulations, and shifting consumer demand. Of all the businesses, of all the industries I see right now, I can't but think the one that has the most uncertainty is the automotive industry. So we'll see if their sales, jump up Q2. But let me know, do you think people are not buying? Is it because they may be intimidated by radical leftists? Is it because they just don't like the image of Elon in general? Or do you think maybe it's just because they don't have money to buy a new car? Or why do you think they're going to the competition? Are they finally trying to catch up with the technology? Let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. I'm going over to the Cultural Power podcast. You have Ben Shapiro's channel. Looks like it's hurting as we do a statistical breakdown. While he is by far the most popular character, or rather producer, co-owner, as well as podcast host of the Daily Wire, his growth rate is actually not as good as Michael Knowles, or some people call Rachel Maddow. There's a lot of conspiracy theories. They've never been in the same room together. I don't think that's a coincidence to you, but in all seriousness, you also have Michael Knowles, Matt Walsh, the comment section with 18 people watching that. Then you have Andrew Klavan being, the main stars left at the company. Now, this is thanks to socialblade.com. You can see his channel here, which again, still overall in terms of, all the channels out there, one of the best. Got 4.3 billion views, 7.2 million subscribers. That's incredible. However, the growth rate is dramatically decreasing. So he's now, they still give him a B+, which is pretty darn good. But yeah, subscribers for past 30 days, 10,000, which again, for me, that would be life-changing. I don't even have 5,000. If I got 10,000 30 days, that would be like a miracle. I'd be flabbergasted. Again, click that subscribe button. Might help with my speaking impediment. When I first started the show, I spoke faster than Ben Shapiro and more awkwardly than Joe Biden trying to climb upstairs. However, the more subscribers I've got, the better I've gotten at speaking. Granted, not a lot, but I would argue statistical improvement nevertheless. So you can click that button, tell your friends. Again, greatly appreciate it. Now, again, when monthly earnings have dropped pathetically for him, again, as an individual, 167, it says the range for monthly earnings, 11,000 to 169,000. As an individual, that's life-changing. I mean, that is a down payment for a house. I mean, that's rent. That's amazing. Well, 11,000 is multiple rent. However, as part of a business with 250 employees, rumors is they might do layoffs, but as part of a business with basically 5 personalities, him being one of the biggest ones, and 250 employees, $169,000. Now, granted, that's per month. That's also known as nothing. His salary is a couple million per year. And now they're breaking down the statistical analysis and the estimate for the yearly estimates between about $250,000 and $3.8 million, which, again, as an individual, life-changing. With a business with 250 employees plus, a lot of them full-time, multiple sites. They have headquarters in Tennessee. They have facilities in Florida, multiple production sites. You got, hair, makeup, producers. You have people doing marketing, allegedly. I think I've seen one commercial in a year. But in all seriousness, there's a lot of back-end infrastructure support of the company, and that's not a lot. Now, Ben Shapiro has publicly said many times on YouTube interviews and such that the number one, or rather the greatest percentage of revenue for the company still comes from YouTube advertisements. They do have DW Plus, or their own individual subscription service for the individual platform. However, that still pales into comparison with the revenue they get from the YouTube ads. Or some people call it the YouTube without the. I think it sounds cooler, but nevertheless, I mean, if I just pull out the good old calculator here, best case scenario is making $3.8 million, which again, that is, geez Louise, I can't fathom that much of an income in a single year. $3.8 million. Shoot, I would definitely get a house, maybe in a Porsche. This is with a stick shift, obviously. Finish paying off the student loans. I'm kidding. I'm actually, knock on wood, that'll happen this year. Now, again, if you break that down to month, that's $316,666. Comically demonic. But nevertheless, from the YouTube ads, they're estimating the best they make from this channel is about $316,666 per month. Again, take that number, divide by 12, which, again, Ben Shapiro's worth a couple million alone. They need to be making so much more money. Now, he's still got 42 million views in the past 30 days, but look at the metrics. I mean, he's only getting 333 more subscribers per day, which is hilariously, I mean, that's 10 times more than me, actually more than that. But nevertheless, for him, not as good as it used to be. Last 30 days, he's only got 10,000 new subscribers. And look at this, gaining subscribers. This is almost impossible. Some weeks it's averaging out to be nothing. Which again, for their number one personality, the guy who built the company, the VP, or not VP, rather, the top talent of the company, co-founder, the guy who built it by owning the libs, which, come on, guys, you gotta get on stage, boy, yeah, you know what I'm saying. Come on, folks, come on, guys. Which, that might have been the worst Ben Shapiro impression you've heard all year, though it's only April. Nevertheless, that was my attempt at the Ben Shapiro accent. But nevertheless, I mean, the subscribers, he had some good months, but yeah, in 2025, it's nearly flatlined. Got 10,000 one month, 10,000, then 0, 0, 0, 0 for a couple weeks there. I mean, they actually lost a lot. Well, I suspect because of the controversy of, Brett Cooper leaving the company and then being replaced by Temu Brett Cooper, also known as Reagan Conrad. It looks like Ben Shapiro lost 10,000 subscribers in December. I don't think that's a coincidence. That's about when she left the company. Now, that being said, that's the only time in, what was this, over a year where he's gone negative and lost subscribers. But it's almost as if someone turned off the faucet that is the marketing department, because it used to be very constant. And again, you could obviously increase subscribers by increasing your marketing. There's a pretty good correlation there. And then you look at his views. It looks like it peaked in November 11, 2024. And just on average, it keeps going down and down and down to, what was this? March 10th, he only got, again, for him, terrible. For the average YouTuber, life-changing, 2.1 million views that week. But if you look at, just a year ago, he's getting 20, 25 million views per week. What's his top one? 29 million? Jeez Louise. 31 million in June of 2024. And again, anecdotally speaking, he did appear they did more marketing for the talent back then. Again, this year I've seen one advertisement for the Daily Wire, which, considering how much I talk about them and cover them, one would think the magical phone and all the creeping, stalking things when it comes to marketing, they would hear me mention the company, they would put ads in front of me to incentivize me to buy some of their stuff. Interestingly enough, I've seen one ad ever as the Spotify. So I was listening to actually a great YouTube channel, show, Teamcast IRL. I was listening to that on my Spotify, or some people call Spotify. Doesn't sound as cool to me, but nevertheless, I noticed then I did get an ad for Ben Shapiro. So that's one time in 4 months. Again, feeling my suspicion that the company is not doing the best financially, because usually, traditionally speaking, when businesses are in rough times, the first thing you cut is the marketing, because sometimes it's not easy to directly correlate marketing activities directly to revenue and business correlated metrics. But it just keeps going more and more and more down and down and down. We just pull up some of this. Let's pull up the YouTube channel for him.
What if everything you were told about the trial of Derek Chauvin was...
Yeah. Oh, the controversy. They're trying to make an email list from that controversy. It looks like he's getting what? He only got it was a couple hours ago, but he only got 6,000 views for that. Granted, only 2 hours, but also got 7.23 million subscribers. That should get a lot more in first 2 hours, right? Looks like he gained 45 to 47,000 views per episode on average, or per clip rather. Got one or two getting 100,000, 200,000. Those are more outliers. Who shot JFK as that clip? See here.
Folks, we got a lot to get to today on the show. We're going to get into...
Got 3.4 thousand likes, that's it, and 80,000 views. And again, the comments are mostly pretty much complimentary to Ben. So it's not like they're, roasting him or anything like that, or a lot of people are hate watching him necessarily. But it's interesting to see the growth rate dramatically decrease, same with the subscriber count. And I don't think it'll ever go negative, even with all the controversy out there about the Daily Wire. But it's interesting to see what used to be the top talent, statistically speaking, for growth, is now falling behind, Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles. So we'll see how long he remains the top. But let me know, have you ever seen an actual advertisement for the Daily Wire or Ben Shapiro? And then do you think they'll infuse his channel with some marketing spice or marketing programs to get his growth rate back up? Or do you think he just needs to pivot and make different content? Let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting cultural news, you have the USA hockey team, or hockey association rather, to allow boys to compete with girls and pushing DEI. Of all the sports balls out there, of all the leagues and different things, I would never have guessed hockey. I would have guessed pretty much any other sports ball besides hockey, actually, now that I think about it. And yet, no, hockey's going, you know what? That boy wants to be on the girls' league. That's a good idea. This very physical sport. He wants to check her, what do they call it, where they push her into not the wall, the plastic glass. That's probably the most effeminate thing I've ever done. But you know what I mean. You're gonna have a boy. Oh yeah, checking it. Yeah, I played Wayne Gretzky's hockey on the Nintendo 64. I know what I'm talking about. You want to have him throw her into a wall. Well, apparently that's okay according to USA Hockey. Now this comes to us thanks to Libs of TikTok, in which she says, quote, "The governing body of the youth ice hockey programs in the U.S., hashtag USA Hockey, has a DEI statement on their site. They also allow men pretending to be women to play on girls' hockey teams. Any organization receiving federal funding that works with the USA Hockey team should cut ties with them. This madness must stop." And you can see their homepage there. They're very proud. It says, "Diversity, equity, and inclusion. USA Hockey is committed to fostering a welcoming environment for all by building diverse, equitable, and inclusive teams. Inclusive teams. Can't speak today. Click the subscribe button. Might fix that, I think. Yeah, diverse, definitely diverse in body type. We're going to have a jacked guy who could probably bicep curl a Mini Cooper smashing a girl into a wall. But they like that. That's diverse, which technically it is. He says, "We celebrate every race, gender, clearly, and background to unite as one community." This is hockey, right? "We believe meaningful action can positively impact important changes in our sport and carry over into our everyday lives. As the girls go home in injuries because you have boys playing with girls in hockey," which is the dumbest of all the sports. Again, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. And we've seen, actually, no, let me know in the comments what's dumber, this or rugby. We've seen rugby players where they have boys playing with girls and literally breaking bones of girls playing the sport. This is so disgusting that it's still happening in the United States. It's ridiculous. Now, going to the page that delineates and specifically says it's okay to, for boys to compete with girls, that goes to their hockey program restrictions by gender. Now, they say, quote, "A transgender female athlete may be eligible to participate in the girls' competitive hockey leagues upon providing some documents that they are required." Now they say in parentheses male, transgender female, male being female, or MTF. Now they have the same documents required. They may be desiring to play with girls competitively. They also provide confirmation by a medical professional. They have undergone at least 1 year of testosterone suppression therapy, which again does not change your already made bone structure and your biology. They say that a transgender male may continue to play girls recreational hockey or girls competitive hockey so long as the athlete has not begun testosterone therapy related to gender transition. A FTM athlete that has begun testosterone therapy related to gender transition shall be considered a male athlete and eligible only for hockey classification not restricted by gender. See above. Non-binary, they can play too. Because of the gender binary of male and female categories represented in hockey, athletes who may have gender identity outside of male and female who wish to participate in hockey may do so in the following ways. Youth hockey, so they can play in junior hockey, adult co-ed hockey, high school hockey, and prep school hockey. Never heard that one. That's a fancy school, I guess. I didn't go there. It says youth hockey at all age levels and team classifications. Interesting. So they got, everyone can play hockey. Boys, girls, basically do whatever you want. I guarantee we're going to see the injuries left and right. As we have in even volleyball, you got that monster of a male playing on the women's league. He smashed the ball so hard it broke her nose on the opponent, on the opposing team. Ridiculous. This should get 1 million views. It got 72,000 views on X and 1.4 thousand likes. One of the first comments, finally playing the memes, haven't seen them in a while. I'm disappointed. They did not in fact respond in MMA form. Simply says, in an aggressive sport like hockey, this is extremely dangerous. Getting 63 likes and fact check. Yeah, true, 110%. Also have anti-woke memes who did respond in MMA form. I appreciate that. Saying DEI is dangerous. It says, quote, 0% contained, 100% DEI. And it's the 3 lesbians that were in charge of the fire department in California where it burned to the ground epically, getting 29 likes. Though they were diverse while the fire was roaring away, so I guess they won that accolade. And by California standards, that's successful. You also have Paul Suzupa saying they'll keep trying to slip DEI. We need to keep exposing them, getting 23 likes. Anti-left meme says DEI ruins everything. It's just a guy holding a poster board saying DEI ruins everything, getting 14 likes. I love American News. It says truth. It's Pam from The Office with the 2 pictures. And one says DEI, the other says destroy every institution. It says corporate needs you to find the difference between the picture and the other picture. Then Pam goes to the same picture, getting 7 likes. Let's see. You also have a couple snippets of the Olympic boxing athlete where a male beat the crap out of a woman. Let's see. Trope says meh. And he tagged the USA Hockey Organization. And it says, quote, DEI agenda and gender policies are a slap in the face to their play. Taxpayer dollars shouldn't fund this nonsense. Time to protect girls, sports, and end the lunacy. Getting 11 likes. Yep. Yeah, they should get 0 funding. Colin says this stuff doesn't fly in hockey. Getting 3. Let's make it 4 likes. This is one of the most dangerous sports. And they just made it more dangerous and not in a good way, or not in an entertaining good way, where they used to actually allow more fights and be more masculine in hockey back in the day. That's just cruel and unusual. So we'll see. Hopefully they change their policies, and yet another reason to double check the rule book and the policies of the sports programs your kids may or may not be participating in. But let me know. Hopefully they do change their mind, but let me know what your thoughts are, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part podcast, you have Hakeem Jeffries calling the SAVE Act voter suppression. Because, of course, it is. Because it requires you to show a form of voter ID. Fascinating how Kamala Harris won, 14 of the 15 states she won in. All of the areas she won in, or 14, 15, they did not require voter ID. Fascinating how she mainly just won those areas. I'm sure it's a coincidence for sure. Now, this comes to us thanks to Benny Johnson on X, in which he says, quote, Hakeem Jeffries just called the SAVE Act a voter suppression bill. It would require proof of citizenship in order to vote in federal elections, which, yeah, I try, as long as I have the time, I respond to even on the busy weeks, if I do it on Saturday night, I respond to all the YouTube comments on my channel and Rumble channel, and some of them are so mentally vacuous, but I still respond. Someone said, oh yeah, this is voter suppression because it's showing a voter ID, it's racist. To which I said, well, my family's from Cuba, we all got IDs, and you need an ID for basically everything in the United States. How on earth is this one thing you're not willing to do? Unfortunately, they did not follow up on my comment, but I did respond. Now, it's only about 22 seconds long. It's mostly mentally vacuous, though. I mean, he did suit up. He did one right thing in his life. It's a low bar, but still, this is a Hakeem.
In that referendum in Wisconsin, then you should have brought the SAVE Act, which is a voter suppression bill that we strongly oppose, to the floor this week. You could have done it.
Because we won't be able to cheat. Oh, that's what he's thinking.
You could have done it today. You could do it tomorrow. We dare you to bring the SAVE Act to the floor. We'll have that discussion. That's voter suppression. And that
showing an ID, that's voter suppression. They've been saying the same bull crap for years. I've yet to see a single legitimate person who had their vote actually suppressed. Have you? Yeah, it doesn't happen. Ridiculous. Now, he also, they should have gone more viral. It got about 145,000 views as well as 2.5 thousand likes. One of the first comments is thanks to Mike Lee, who says, quote, "This is utterly insane. Opposing the SAFE Act helps alien votes, diluting the legitimate votes of U.S. citizens." They got 2.9 thousand likes. The conservative alternative says, quote, "The only voters that are being suppressed are felons and illegal immigrants. Voter ID just makes sure you're eligible to vote." Getting 39. Let's make it 40 likes. The undercurrent says, quote, "If requiring citizenship to vote is suppression, then apparently the only border Democrats want is one around common sense." Getting 30 likes. Let's see here. Mr. Positive says, "Sounds about right." There's a tweet. It's Hakeem Jeffries. Then at the time, it got 666 likes. Underburdened by what has been says, "Dollar Store Biden says what?" I'll give him a like. That was pretty good. That got 14 likes. Dangle Void Signal says, quote, "That guy's retarded and nobody cares what he says." Getting 15 likes, which, well, no, his political side very much cares, and he's probably going to raise millions of dollars off these statements. I mean, there's a reason he's out there saying these things. Again, it's giving him political points. I mean, it's working. Democrats think voter ID is the worst thing on the planet, and this will probably help him out. Corey B says, quote, "The Democrat Party is more concerned with the illegal votes being suppressed and gaslighting American citizens than it is with working with Trump to better our country and make it number one in the world for prosperity. Can't make this shit up." Getting 11 likes, which, yeah, it's also crazy to see radical leftists hoping the economy crashes even, just does terribly just because Trump won. Brave Little Taco says, quote, "Can someone in the House GOP call this loudmouth lying fecal matter out of his lies? Why the F are GOP leaders allowing this blatant lying to occur?" Getting 13 likes. RLB says, "True. It suppresses illegals from voting. That's what we voted for." Getting 7 likes. Yep. Carrie Joko says, quote, "They don't love illegals. They love their votes." Getting 5 likes. Also, they're helping the census, which gives their states artificially more representation of the House, which, yeah, should be illegal. CPA in the Fairway says, quote, "How is only allowing U.S. citizens to vote with a voter, I'm definitely misreading this. Apologies. It says, quote, "How is only allowing U.S. citizens to vote a voter suppression? I don't get it." Getting 9 likes. I swear it's not grammatically right, but I did read it. Bob Steyer says, "Democrats only care about power and illegal immigrants more than they do law-abiding American citizens." Getting 6 likes. So, yeah, we'll see if that act actually gets passed. And, if Democrats ever win again, if they actually do have to show voter ID every time. But let me know your thoughts, because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Crate and Barrell having to recall candles because they might explode. Well, crack and break and cause lacerations. Now, this comes with thanks to the United States Consumer Product Safety Commission, which they say, quote, "Apotheke recalls pumpkin ginger 3-wick scented candles due to fire, burn, and laceration hazards sold exclusively at Crate and Barrell." Which, yep, not good. I swear some of these companies have zero safety departments. And, I mean, shoot, that thing probably cost, well, I'll discuss that, but that thing looks pretty fancy. One would think it'd be, up to snuff when it comes to quality. Though I also debate, if you're buying this type of scented candle, you don't deserve, you maybe deserve to you get some last. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But who the hell buys pumpkin ginger as a candle? Is that like a Starbucks thing? It's gotta be. I don't know a man who's bought that ever. But nevertheless. Now, they note that, quote, "The flame can burn it too high and cause the candle to ignite and the glass container to break, posing fire, burn, and laceration hazards." Whoops. Now, unfortunately, this affects about 640 units in addition to 11 that was sold in Canada, which, I bet it didn't sell well there. That's why it was only 11. This is maple syrup, was sold like hotcakes up there, or with cakes. But nevertheless, they also note that, oh, here's the size of the container. They say, quote, the recall involves a 26-ounce pumpkin ginger 3 weeks candle. They're sold in 26 ounces with the amber glass container. I don't know how you spell this. Apotheke spelled on it? Or no, it's spelled, I don't know how you pronounce it. Apotheke. Apotheke? Interesting. Jeez Louise. Now, they say consumers should immediately stop using the recalled candles and contact Apotheke to receive a full refund in the form of another online store credit for them. Crate and Barrell is also contacting all known purchasers directly. After the refund request is submitted, candles should be immediately discarded. Now, unfortunately, it's already starting, they've already had some incidents. Now, they say, quote, they have received 6 reports of the candles' flames burning too high, 4 resulting in minor property damage, including singeing surfaces, and 1 minor burn to the consumer's hand. Now, to add insult to injury, and it does look fancy, I'll give them that. To add insult to injury, though, guess how much people wasted for this crap. These are sold exclusively at Crate and Barrell nationwide and crateandbarrell.com from June 2024 to January 2025 for about, not $20, not $30, not $50, $80, plus the extortion tax, also known as sales tax. So, in Texas, it's 8.25, but I round up to 10 to keep math easy. So it would be about $88 for a candle. This has to be like 99% profit. Okay, it's not that much, but it's like, who's paying almost $100 for a candle? That's insane. And again, Crate and Barrell, I mean, I know they sell the fancy stuff. They're not exactly growing these days in terms of, I wouldn't think, it's one of those things where maybe they're making cuts in the quality assurance department, but they're already having some other issues. The fact that they don't have a team making sure that potentially dangerous products are up to snuff so they don't cause issues like this. I mean, that in itself is a business blunder. Now, this recall is 25-199 for reference. These are distributed thanks to, Apotheke of Brooklyn, New York. And again, we were spending almost $100 for a stupid candle. One would assume it would be, I don't know how crappy that glass is that it's so thin that it actually cracks because it gets so hot. But yeah, I gotta say, Crate and Barrell, selling a $100 candle that might hurt you because of the subpar manufacturing components. And you didn't, again, this is your product that you're representing in your store, and people are going to pay attention to you and Apotheke. Gotta say, Crate and Barrell, you and Apotheke, certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.